Well, good morning and welcome to our center, Sacramento CSL.org, and welcome here. We are ready to begin our service, and our service is recorded, and you may, turn off your video and your sound and be incognito if you like. You're still welcome, and you can change your username as well. And then here's our wonderful, beautiful website at www.saccsl.org. And we built this website for you, and I use it as well. And you can find everything on it, events, classes, workshops, they're all wonderful. And plus you can leave a prayer because we love to pray. And then here's your prayer request online at our website again. Join us in prayer, please, at www.saccsl. And now I invite you to go within, close your eyes, go within your heart as we open this service, knowing that that divine presence is right here over us, within us, around us, and through us. And I know, as I am, you are each one a part of this beautiful divine presence that always was and always will be. So I bless our service today. I will hold it in spirit and be grounded and hold the high watch, because I know we're going to get a wonderful message and music and everything that goes with that. And so I give thanks, and so it is. And please enjoy our readings today. And I guess it's Reverend Debbie Putman.
Yes, bathe in these beautiful readings that we have for you today. If you could see the, pardon me, if you could see the object of your fear until you really understand it, it would no longer exert any effect on you. You can do this to the degree where you become aware that you are divinely guided and protected, and establish your understanding of this in a definite way. My favorite from all the times I read Dune: fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. There are two basic motivating forces, fear and love. When we are afraid, we pull back from life. When we are in love, we open to all that life has to offer with passion, excitement, and acceptance. John Lennon. And now we have our wonderful in-house, world-class poet, Doug VanWoerkom. Doug has been performing his original poetry and the poetry of Rumi and Hafiz for 20 years. And when in person, his poetry is accompanied by his drumming. He's a regular performing artist at our center, and today we get to hear him. I'm so excited. Welcome, Doug VanWoerkom.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. This morning's poem is one I wrote back in 2005. It was my way of exploring and describing what the emotion of fear felt like when I experienced it in my life, and what I needed to learn to do, and by the way, I am still learning to do, to move through the fear in a healthy way each time it showed up. I titled this Growing Beyond Fear. This fear roars through my mind like a dragon attacking an isolated town. My ideas and plans scatter like townspeople running for shelter they cannot find. All seems lost. Buildings burn, barns collapse, goats run loose with fire in their tails, and a child falls crying in the middle of the square. But all is not lost, for there is one who emerges from the crowd, rallies the brave, gathers the archers, and directs their concentrated fire. Orders are given, buckets of water thrown. The animals are gathered and calmed, and the mother finds and soothes her crying child. And the dragon retreats, licking its wounds, still angry, but noticing now how the towns are not as easy as they used to be. Thank you.
I love that poem. I've loved it since he first wrote it. The images are so wonderful about how fear is the dragon that comes after us. It seems almost surreal to be talking about fear with the current situation and conditions in the Ukraine. The synchronicity of the planning and scheduling of this topic by CSL more than a year ago, and the contrast between the Ukrainian experience and the Sacramento experience couldn't be much greater. I've been watching the news like one would watch a train wreck, with horror and fascination. And then I remember that the event I am watching is a call for prayer. And so I sit what Emma Curtis Hopkins called the high watch. It's where one looks for the light, sees the light, and nurtures the light in all that is before them. So I want to start with a minute of silence for us to see the light in the Ukrainian people, to see the light in the Russian soldiers, to see the light in the world leaders that are grappling with this challenge, and to trust this light to show us the way to peace. So if you will gather with me for a moment of silence. Thank you. My title today is Fear, Friend or Foe. And as is becoming usual with me, it's a trick question. Fear can be either friend or a foe, but what it always does is it tells the truth. There are two kinds of fear, and I'll call them type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is real fear, physical fear, like what the Ukrainian people and the Russian soldiers are feeling. It's what an antelope feels when it sees the lion. It's what you or I feel when we're in the big, dark parking garage and the creepy stranger walks towards us. We know type 1 fear when we feel the 3 F's of adrenaline: fight, flight, or freeze. This is an evolutionary imperative designed to keep us alive. It's up there with the big three: food, shelter, and reproduction. It's part of nature's design for species survival. Now, the need for this all-out response is rare for most of us in our everyday middle-class Sacramento lives. But the physiological and biological responses live on in our bodies, and we can find ourselves responding out of proportion to situations. What we mostly deal with is what I'm calling type 2 fear. Think of it as type 1's more civilized younger sibling. Rather than being a primal physical survival mechanism, it's a psychological or ego defense mechanism. It's like the robot in the old Lost in Space, danger, danger, Will Robinson. And it's confusing because our body can react or overreact as if our life has been threatened when it's really only our ego sense of self that has been threatened. And by that, I mean the collection of beliefs and values that we have solidified into our worldview and beliefs about our place in that world order. But we do have real physical dangers in our world too. So I want to say at least briefly a little bit about both types of fear. Several years ago, Reverend Rafe Ellis, who is now the senior minister at the Foothills CSL in Grass Valley, gave a workshop titled Fall in Love with Fear, and it was fabulous. He said, and I quote from the flyer he created for the workshop, "Fear never lies to us, never. It communicates with laser accuracy, alerting us to a viable threat to our physical, mental, or emotional well-being. Or it reveals exactly what is operating in our beliefs. It never lies." Reverend Rafe went on to present a systematic approach to fear that I have modified and would like to share with you, as it is eminently practical. So step 1 is assess your fear. The simplest and often most overlooked response is to notice that you are afraid. Admit it. Own it. Don't say such and such is scaring me. That places you in the position of victim, being acted upon by the object of your fear. It keeps your attention away from you and inhibits your ability to respond. When I own my emotional state, it makes taking action much, much easier. I literally get back into my own body and mind. Next, breathe. Taking control of our breathing settles both the mind and the body. It turns down the volume and short circuits the adrenaline response. It's so basic, and we so often forget to breathe. Now you can actually assess the situation. What's really going on? Is there an actual or potential physical threat? If there is a threat, prioritize your safety and well-being. If it's an obvious physical threat, move to safety. Get help. I'm going to presume that if you are in an imminently physically dangerous situation, you have enough sense to get away and get someplace safe. Then call someone to help you deal with any trauma related to your experience. And that's about all I'm going to say about that level of fear. That's the Ukrainian fear for the most part, rather than the Sacramento fear. The threat, however, may be less obvious, more subtle, more of a warning. Pay attention and be guided by the wisdom of your past experience and your general knowledge. When my daughter Emily was, probably 14 or 15, She had already done her sprout into her height and was starting to develop and become a young woman. And as all parents of daughters, I had great fears periodically. She's out riding city buses to school and back and just being out in the world. And she came home one day and told me about an experience she had. She'd been in the grocery store and there was a big guy standing behind her and he was standing too close to her and she was starting to get really uncomfortable. So she turned around, looked him in the eye and said, "You're standing too close, back up." And he went, oh, sorry, and backed up. But I was so proud of her that she had taken care of herself. She had paid attention to her own intuition and wisdom. So trust yourself in the moment. Don't gaslight yourself. Your safety is more important than someone else's feelings. Women have been raised to ignore their intuition and be polite. Heaven knows we should never hurt anyone else's feelings. Don't do that to yourself. Listen. If it feels uncomfortable, move. Say something. Trust yourself. Before I move on to type 2 fear, I want to be clear why I've spent time dealing with type 1. In New Thought, we don't talk about type 1 fear much, yet most of us have experienced some level of physical threat or physical trauma. It seemed disingenuous, disrespectful, and downright dangerous to pretend that it doesn't exist. It has also helped me to be clear about the difference between the two types of fear, so I can get past the primitive adrenaline rush and do the inner work required by type 2 fear. So once I've assessed the situation and realized that I'm not about to be eaten by the proverbial lion, then it's probably my sense of self that's feeling threatened. And this is no small thing. I would say that this type 2 fear is the primary cause of the current social unrest in this country. It is the primary motivator of the extreme polarization that is our current political and public life. It's also a primary disruptor of our personal lives and relationships. So it's important to know where this fear comes from and why we react so strongly. Type 2 fear is a direct result of coming into this world naked, fragile, and vulnerable. We are at the mercy of our parents and family. So how do we survive? We shape ourselves to our environment, whether it's nurturing or not. If it's a nurturing environment, then the shaping is mutual between us and our family. If it's not as nurturing, then we work with what we have. We become what we need to become in order to fit in and thrive where we are. Experience by experience, lesson by lesson, we build an ego, a personality whereby we can pass as a human being that belongs to the tribe. Now, this is complicated because as we are learning and making decisions and choices, mom wants us to act this way, dad values something else, siblings have their own needs and rivalries, school and culture have their models and expectations. All this is going on. We are also growing physically, emotionally, psychologically, and cognitively. This is a huge life task that we do. This building of an ego. And so at age 16 or 18 or 20, we leap or are pushed out of the nest and into the world we go, full of incomplete information and conflicting beliefs. right? Was anybody really prepared? Was anybody ego really knew what it was doing when we leaped into the world? Not me. It is our ego, personally designed by us, that has the job to protect us, to watch for anything that might threaten our sense of who we are and how the world works. Note, at this point in our development, we think the ego is who we are. We are pretty clueless that it's an artificial, though valuable, construct. So if you are afraid or suddenly very angry and there is no imminent physical danger, chances are that what is being threatened is your sense of self, your values and beliefs about who you are, or your worldview, how you think the world should work, the rules of life, so to speak. Now, two key responses are clues to a type 2 threat. And the first one is said in a voice of great righteousness, either aloud or in your head. And it's, this should not be happening. It's not right. It's not fair. These statements usually reflect the fear of loss of control. Or statements said with great feelings like, how could you think that way about me? How could you treat me that way? Statements that reflect a fear of abandonment or feeling unworthy. So, what to do? As with any fear, own it. Breathe. Those are always two good first steps. Own what's going on around you and breathe. Then, thank your ego. By now, you know that is not who you are. So praise it like you would a well-trained guard dog, because your ego is a tool, not who you are. So thank your ego for bringing you the news, the awareness, the alert that there is a potential threat. Bring it to heel and send it to bed with praise. Your ego has done its job. Remember that Reverend Rafe said that fear never lies? Fear reveals exactly what is operating in our beliefs. Fear is one of the fastest ways to discover the hidden beliefs, those unconscious rules and expectations that govern our life. Fear never lies. Fear lets you know that you're operating out of one of those unconscious beliefs, unconscious expectations of the world. So now your inner work begins. Do you remember that this entire month has been about inner work? Now this is the last week. Next month we start with play, but this week we're still on inner work. So what do? Look to see what has been threatened. Meditate, journal, talk to a friend or practitioner. Is it a belief? Is it an expectation based on a belief or value? Did someone break one of your rules? Watch your breathing. Often we stop breathing or it becomes really shallow when we're facing an inner conflict. Watch for what you don't want to think about when you start squirming. Watch for how you distract yourself when looking underneath the surface of a conflict or a fear or a sudden anger. Breathe and witness it, not from a place of judgment, just a place of observation. Have a conversation in your head or by journaling with your observer. Try to answer the following questions. How interesting that fill in the blank. I wonder why, fill in the blank. My, that was a strong response. I wonder where that came from. Just have a conversation with yourself. And finally, and most importantly, remember who and whose you are. You are not your ego. You built it as a tool when you were a child to help you be human. But you are a tool user. You are not a fragile, human, vulnerable, you are not a fragile, vulnerable human being. Or that is not all that you are. You are a spirit, a divine being having a human experience. Again, you are the divine. You are love. You are wholeness, living as a human being. This is why we have spiritual practice. We come into this life, and as we learn to be human, as we focus our attention to becoming human, we forget that we really began as pure spirit. So spiritual practice, prayer, meditation, visioning helps us to reconnect to the whole. So this is whose we are. We are the unlimited, living in a time and space ruled human existence. So yes, we are limited by time and space, but just about any other limitation is a belief that the ego used as a way to be human, to fit in and survive our family of origin and our community of origin. And we are not alone. We are not naked and vulnerable anymore. We live in and are surrounded by the love and wholeness that is life itself. So the last step, once you remember who and whose you are, is to assess your belief systems, assess the situation, and choose again. In a sense, you are retraining or reshaping your ego. What do you choose to believe about yourself? What do you choose to believe about how the world works? Are these beliefs working for you? Are you ready to let them go? Think of all the people today that are at each other's throats over beliefs that they are not ready to let go of, not ready to examine, not ready to look at what they're really afraid of and move forward, not from that place of being the vulnerable human, but that from that place of knowing that you are the divine in the world. And this is how you transform type 2 fear into love. Admit you're having a reaction, that you're afraid. Thank your ego for alerting you to a potential threat. Breathe. Observe. Have a conversation with your observer. Remember who and whose you are. And assess your beliefs with friends, with a practitioner, or by yourself. And choose the life that you want. I want to end this talk with a call and response practice. I'm going to say a line, and then I want you to repeat it, but stay muted or we'll all be in chaos. Then I'll give you a second phrase to repeat. There will be 7 phrases in all, okay? If you like, focus on your breathing, close your eyes and center yourself. Here we go. I am a point of awareness within the life of God. I am a point of light within the mind of God. I am a point of love within the heart of God. I'm a point of creativity within the energy of God. I am a point of joy within the glory of God. I am a point of beauty within the perfection of God. Whatever God is, I am. Whatever God is, I am right here and right now. Thank you.
Whether you're different, same ignorant or intelligent, whether you tell the truth, lie or embellish it, whether you live in gratitude or for the hell of it, it doesn't really matter, it's still one single fellowship. Whether you've been lustful or living celibate, whether you're an optimist or only see the negative, whether you're dead broke or rich from inheritance, doesn't really matter, we're made of the same sediment. Whether you got a family or single parenting, or you're Asian, African, European or American, whether you pray to God or atheist is irrelevant, cause what you got inside is the same, it's all your preference.
It'll change your heart, it'll change your mind, and then you'll start to change. So keep loving everything you touch, everyone you see will soon become your family.
Do you see yourself in the troubled and the homeless? Can you say everywhere you are is where your home is? Sharing your heart in the dark just like a lotus, letting your light shine bright so you can float it. Everlasting love of grace like those did Jesus, Muhammad, Krishna, Buddha, and Moses, who carried the weight of the world upon their shoulders. So every time you fall down, go ahead and hold this close to your heart, cause you're a love soldier, and every time you get a chance, you pay it forward. Moving closer to heaven's gates, we're all soaring. Because of you, love is where we're headed towards.
It'll change your heart, it'll change your mind, and then you'll start to change. So keep loving everything you touch, everyone you see will soon become your family. So keep loving.
Gotta keep on loving, gotta keep on sharing, gotta keep on trying, gotta keep on caring, gotta keep the light on through dark and despair, gotta spread the love where nobody cares. Gotta keep on loving, gotta keep on sharing, gotta keep on trying, gotta keep on caring, gotta keep the light on through dark and despair.
So keep loving, it'll change your heart, it'll change your mind, and then you'll start to change. So keep loving everything you touch, everyone you see will soon become your family.
trying, gotta keep on caring, gotta keep the light on through dark and despair, gotta spread the love where nobody cares. Gotta keep on loving, gotta keep on sharing, gotta keep on trying, gotta keep on caring, gotta keep the light on through dark and despair. So keep loving, it'll change your heart, it'll change your mind, and then you'll start to change. So keep loving, touch everyone you see, will soon become your friend. So keep loving.
So from this loving place, as we keep on loving ourselves and all those around us in the world, in this place of love, we are now offering you an opportunity to give in support of all that we do at this center as a spiritual community. And as we give, we receive. We have different ways that you can give. You can go to PayPal or Square on Sac CSL. You can mail your personal check to the address shown on the screen. And we also want to thank our YouTube audience for your donations that you continue to give in honor of this service of our center. And so now for our abundance affirmation, please say with me together as we stay muted. Abiding by the law of circulation and in heartfelt gratitude, I affirm that I live in a creative and abundant universe that continuously flows in, through, and out as me, expressing as the ever-expanding infinite of good and love. And so it is.
And we have news. We are ready to share our announcements. As many of you know, we have a new home where we are meeting on the first Sunday of the month. That's next Sunday. And also on the fifth Sunday when months have that extra gift of an extra Sunday. And you can see it on the slide. And Bev Barnett and Greg Newlin are joining us for our live music next Sunday. So not only do we have this wonderful in-person service, followed by a wonderful workshop, we'll talk about that later, but also we have this beautiful couple who shares their music, their harmony, and their life with us. The workshop next weekend is Make a Vision Board. It is offered both in person after service and on Zoom. It's 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. You can bring your own pictures. I also will be bringing, I am leading it. I will be bringing magazines and whatnot that you can cut some pictures out of, and glue and all the supplies. So bring things or don't, but come and join us for the Vision Board workshop to help power your life through vision. We have a new class starting in a couple of weeks. It's going to be Tuesday nights, and this is called Exploring Roots. It's a wonderful history of new thought. You can see it on this slide, and it's on our website. Please go to our website and sign up. Tuesday nights starting March 29th. And biggest announcement of all, because it is happening in just a short while, we are having our annual meeting this afternoon. Our incredible and dedicated board members have put together a presentation that will share with us where we have been, where we are going, what our finances are looking like, all of those kinds of things. So if you are a friend or a member or just someone who's interested, please join us at 12:30. Ruth, do you have anything you want to add about that?
No, I think you've got it all. We're excited to have everybody join us.
Thank you. And again, thank you to our YouTube audience. We love you. Please hit subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can know what's going on and we can continue to build our YouTube audience. Margie?
Yes. And please take this affirmation with you all week. Take it into your heart. I give the world my love, trust, and joy. And for the benediction and the gratitude that for this service today, the message was outstanding. I learned the music. I loved the everything together, the readings, even the announcements. I'm so grateful for it all. And as I know this, I bless the service, we bless it together, we take our love and we start in our hearts and we spread it into the world. And so it is. Thank you. Ta-da.
Love be with you, love be with you, peace enfold you, spirit lift you, breathe it in, truth come through you, make good flow to you, and let joy renew you. Till we meet again. Love be with you. Ooh, love be with you. Sing that with me. Ooh, love be with you. Ooh, love be with you. Love be with you. Peace enfold you. Spirit lift you, breathe it in. Truth come through you, make good flow to you, and let joy renew you till we meet again. Love be with you. Ooh, 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 love be with you. I love you all.